Alright guys, so we're going to do the dynamic range test for the Hisense U8G, just showing you the peak brightness that you can get out of it. So we're going to click on the 2% window here in the Spears & Munsell UHD benchmarking disc. As you guys can see, we're at 1085 nits, but it's waiting to pick up and catch again. And as it goes, it's pretty certain about 1085, 1082 now. And I expect that to drop off as obviously the local dimming starts kicking on more aggressively as it sits there. So the peak was 1085, but you can hold well over 1000 nits on a 2% window stimulus. So then we're going to go back to the Spears & Munsell UHD benchmarking disc, and we're going to go over to our, let's say, 5% window stimulus here. Okay. That peak, we had 1430 or 1453 as a peak, and it starts falling off pretty substantially as you just let it sit there, but the peak is 1453 on a 5% window stimulus. You guys saw what it was. So yeah, very impressive, extremely bright, as you guys are clearly seeing, definitely holding that 1500 plus nit claim. You know, no hype, no overselling, literally exactly what they said it would be. And it's really good to see that in smaller windows, because that's how you know your highlights are going to be really explosive. So, okay, we're going to go back to the, let's see, we're going to go to the 10% now. Click on the 10%. The peak, 1406, 1557. So 1557 is our peak, well above the 1500 nit claim. So very good stuff there. As you see, it's going up and down on a variable level, and notice, like, through every window we're well over 1000 nits. I told you this thing was crazy bright, and usually towards the smaller end you usually get down to 900 nits on some TVs, or 800, the high 800s. This has just been like 1000 plus nits, like, all throughout. It is an absolute light cannon, a beast of a monster. Now granted, this is not calibrated. This is to optimize to get the best of the peak brightness that you can get. This is to test the peak. I'll also tell you the calibrated numbers as well for those who are planning on doing a calibration. But if you don't care about that stuff and you just care about peak brightness, this thing does get crazy bright. Okay, so we're going to go down to the 25% window stimulus, and we're going to go see our peak for the 25% window stimulus. 1474 it looked like. So for 25% window stimulus, dropping down now, you guys see what it is. Again, very impressive stuff. I don't have any problems here on my end. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next window stimulus. We're going to go to, what do you say, the 50% window stimulus. And we're going to let it ramp. Wait for it. And we're at 905 for a 50% window stimulus. So we're out of 1000 nits, but I feel I want to go back a window and then forward a window. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, the peak was 1070 and then it dropped to 905. That seems more likely. So that's what we have for a 50% window, and you're holding 906 very comfortably. So yeah, not bad at all for a 50% window, almost full screen brightness. So pretty much that tells you everything you're going to watch on this thing is going to be really bright if you want it to be. Now the 100% window, which is the most challenging of all to maintain full screen brightness. Okay, down, keep glitching. There we go, right there. And our peak is 621, and it's holding that pretty confidently. And that's what we have for the 100% window. So again, pretty impressive stuff. You get more than what you bargained for sure. Over 1500 nits, so most definitely an incredibly bright television. Alright, so now we're going to go over the calibrated numbers. Now, be mindful, you will see a significant reduction in peak brightness, so don't be surprised when you see these numbers fall dramatically. We are talking about calibrated results after all. Okay, so for the 2% window stimulus, we have 527 nits as a peak, 28, it's going up. 29. So it's just going to go up from there, I imagine. This TV does get incredibly bright, so lowering the peak brightness has kind of the reverse effect on this TV because it has so much headroom. It just kind of raises after a while. So, you know, you get some pretty decent brightness, but nothing to write home about. But again, we are talking about calibrated results. Now, I am not calibrating to the 100 nit standard. I think that is just way too damn dim. That is just not how I do things. But again, to each their own. Now, we're going to go into our, what do you say, 5% window stimulus from there. We're going to see the peak on that. 603, 719. So 719 is where I would call it for a normal nit range. That's pretty much what you're going to get. All right. So then let's wait for it to, there you go. We're going to go to the 10% window now. And our peak, wait for it. We're at 767. I'm going to refresh the window. Yeah, 767, 766, that's where you're at. Pretty confidently. It's holding fairly well. So that's what you're going to get on, I believe we were on a 25% window or 10% window. So now we're going to go to the 25% window stimulus. And our peak for it, and 734. That's what we have for that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go forward. 794 is where we're peaking. And then it holds 734. So not bad for a 25% window. And keep in mind, this is with proper grayscale calibration. I mean, I'm talking like pretty darn perfect for what I had. I had delta errors well below 1. I mean, at that point, they are beyond not even perceptible. So you're really just going crazy at that point, getting them that low. But either way, you do have that. So we're going to do the 50% window stimulus. The peak 454 is what it was. Then it drops down to 443. And it holds that pretty confidently. So that's about where we'll call it for that one. Now we're going to go into the 100% window. And our peak for that, 301, 302. Wait for it to refresh, see where it's holding. It's pretty much convinced that it's 301 or 302 on a full screen. So yeah, you're not going to get the most blistering bright levels when you start calibrating and getting grayscale correct and all that stuff. But I tell you what, it's still pretty fantastic if you just want the brightest picture you can get. You're definitely able to get well above 1500 nits. I think the max that I got doing this was like in the 1600s, but it fell off pretty immediately. You know, but you get well above the 1500 nits, so yeah, not bad at all. Okay, so now we're in HDR mode, and we're going to be checking the HDR. So I just put it in HDR Vivid. I think it's the mode that most people using HDR are probably going to try to go over to at some point, and we're just going to see how it performs in that aspect. Okay, so we're going to start off with the 2% window. I'm just going to go straight to it. Our peak, 1,000, 1,110. Now we're at 1,110, and it's holding pretty well. And again, this is HDR. Now it dropped to 1109. But that's not bad for a 2% window right out the gate. And again, in English, for you, that just means that small highlights in movies are going to look really, really bright. Okay, so then we're going to go to the 5% window. Let's go up. See our peak. 1385, 1473. Very nice. So yeah, that's definitely a nice increase there. You definitely see some pretty bright highlights coming out of a 5% window for sure. Or wherever we are. I think, yeah, we're on a 5% now. 5 or 10. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's a 5. You guys can just rewind the video because I get discombobulated with all these numbers that I have to run. Okay, so I'm pretty sure now we're on a 10% window. That was probably the 5 that we were just on. So we're going to go to the 10% window. See our peak, 14, 1581. So definitely the peak is well above the advertised 1500 nits of brightness. So, you know, Hisense said that they offer greater than 1500 nits. You're seeing it right here. Greater than 1500 nits. No false claims there. I can verify that in real time using science. All right, so we're going to go to the 25% window stimulus now. We're going to wait for our peak. 13, 14, 30, and then it drops to 1427. So 1430 is what you get on a 25% window stimulus. All around, this thing is an absolute light cannon if you haven't noticed already. It just shoots out light like nobody's business. Very impressive stuff. All right, so then we're going to go down to the 50% window stimulus. See our peak. And waiting for it. I'm going to refresh the window because we were waiting a little bit. 1124, and then it drops immediately to 896. So still over 1,000 nits for the peak, and then it drops down pretty substantially and holds at a sustained 896 nits. Not bad at all. All right then, so last but not least, we're going to do our 100% window stimulus. Now, these can be pretty tricky because that's where you see the most reduction in brightness. I mean, why not? For shits and giggles, let's just do the 75% window stimulus. Our peak is at 682 is what it was. And it's holding actually 682 pretty well. It's pretty solid with that number. It's not confused at all. So that's pretty much what you're going to get there. Okay then, so last but not least, finally, we're going to go down to our 100% window stimulus. 100, if I can ever get it to do what I want, go down to 100%, like so. Click on it, wait for our peak. 618 is what we are at right now. And that was pretty immediate. There was no fall off on that. It's just a sustained 618 right now. So that's pretty much it for the peak brightness test for the Hisense U8G. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. And if you appreciate videos like this, subscribe, join the journey, and smack a like on this video. And also, don't forget to join and become a member if you want to snag my settings. I'm going to have some kick-ass ones going up for you guys. I've got the first setting already up right now, and more to follow. Thanks again for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.